Hello, everyone. Hope you guys can hear me. Just kind of set things up. This is a very unexpected and very impromptu stream that I'm doing, but I do feel like it is very much worth doing because Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos Jr. maybe one of the most anticipated purse bids in the past decade or so, or certainly in my ever since I did started covering boxing. And my God, this is absolutely insane. Gray Johnson on the live chat saying 6 million Carlos Joker energy. I love it. You know what? I love it too. So for those of you who are just tuning in or have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, Triller, the app that did the Mike Tyson Roy Jones Jr. exhibition, came in out of nowhere and made a 6 million bid to win the promotional rights to Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos Jr. for the IBF, WBA, and WBO lightweight titles. So it's an absolute insane moment in boxing because no one expected this to happen. No one. There have been a lot of friction between Teofimo Lopez and Top Rank as far as how much Teofimo Lopez wanted to get paid and how much Top Rank was willing to pay Teofimo after Lopez won the unified lightweight titles against Vasily Lomachenko last year. And I will say this right off the bat. I'm happy for Teofimo Lopez. I'm happy for George Kambosos Jr. George Kambosos Jr., my God, I don't think even he expected just all of this to come out of, everything just came out of nowhere. George Kambosos Jr. is getting a seven-figure payday in which most cases he probably wasn't going to get anywhere near the amount of money he was going to get for this fight had it not been for Triller. And Teofimo is going to get the payday that he wants, approximately 4 million. And just to sort of break it down, so this is essentially what happened. We had a number of promoters and entities in boxing be a part of this purse bid. The three biggest players were Triller, Top Rank, and Matchroom Boxing. So before we get to the specifics of the purse bid itself, I do think that there might be some people who have no idea what a purse bid is, and it is a very unique thing in boxing. So basically, a purse bid is done when a title fight that was ordered by a sanctioning body like the IBF, it's ordered when negotiations basically stall or take too long, or it looks like it's going nowhere. So they essentially have an open purse, like an auction, where different entities and different people can sort of come in and buy the promotional rights to a fight. And it's not limited to the promoters directly involved with the fighters, as we just saw right here with Triller, who has absolutely no part of Teofimo Lopez or Top Rank or with Lou DiBella or with George Kambosos Jr. None of that. So they came in and figured, all right, we're just gonna outbid everyone, and it wasn't even close. So Top Rank, who, by the way, they're also a minor winner in all of this. They bid $2.315 million, which, if you break it down, the lion's share was going to go to Teofimo Lopez, 65% of it, due to the IBF rules. 65% was going to Teofimo Lopez, which was, doing some quick math here, around like the 1.5 million that Top Rank was trying to pay him anyway, so it was not a surprising number. Then came Matchroom, and they almost doubled what Top Rank bid. They bid, well, not necessarily, it wasn't double, but it was a pretty high amount, 3.506 million, of which, again, 65% was going to go to Teofimo Lopez. But because it is a fight not promoted by Top Rank is actually going to get a cut of that winning bid, 20% of it. And then came Triller with $6.018 million. 20% of it is going to go to Top Rank. 20% of Lopez's cut is going to go to Top Rank. So Lopez's cut, 65% of Triller's bid, was $3,911,700. 20% of it is going to go to Top Rank, which is $782,340. Kambosos is going to get $2,106,300, and then you take whatever percentage of it going with to develop. I don't know the specifics of what their certain deal is, but regardless, it is a career high payday for both of these guys, and I love it. I absolutely love the fact that we are getting that. This is kind of like the wild west of boxing sometimes, where sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but when it's chaotic like this, man, it's exciting. It's so fun to follow and so fun to watch. Could you imagine just like you can't really imagine it in other sports. You can't imagine something like that with the NBA. You can't imagine something like that with the NFL or Major League Baseball. You can't even really think about it with UFC, because Dana White's the one kind of controlling everything. So, and they don't do like interpromotional fights with like Bellator or with I'm forgetting the promotion in Japan or with One Championship. So it is a very unique thing about boxing, these purse bids, and it really goes to show, the value that Teofimo Lopez brings to the market. He's getting paid $4 million. Not many fighters can get paid that much from a purse bid alone. And God, I'm trying to remember the last time that there was something this insane in a purse bid was maybe the Vladimir Klitschko Alexander Povetkin fight from like 7-8 years ago. That I think the winner of that bid gave like 23 million, something crazy like that. Greg Johnson, Ryzen. Yeah. Now I remember. Yeah, Ryzen, the Japanese promotion that I was thinking of. Can you imagine like UFC and Ryzen trying to get an interpromotional fight, and then just an arbitrary third party saying, all right, we're doing an auction, and guys like Bellator and entities like One can just swoop in and try to make put their stake in that fight. So it is insane. And it's funny because this is not necessarily like an absolute must-see fight for the sport itself. I really like George Kambosos Jr. He looked very good in the fight against Lee Selby, and he has certainly made a very good ascent to being a contender, much in the same way as Teofimo Lopez. Greg Johnson in chat says, I'd argue the only entity that lost here was ESPN. Yeah, ESPN absolutely missed out on Teofimo Lopez's first fight as a unified champion. And ESPN got a lot of viewership with that fight between Lomachenko and Lopez. That was one of the most watched boxing fights on U.S. television of the past decade. I don't have the hard numbers right here, but I think maybe the only fights that eclipsed it were at least in last 5 years or so, was the Manny Pacquiao-Jeff Horn fight and the Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia fight that aired on CBS. I think those may be the only fights. I'm almost certain Thurman Garcia was watched more on CBS, but it goes to show that Teofimo Lopez, and for a long time we've been saying this, he is a star. He is a star in the making, and the win against Lomachenko wasn't just career-defining, but it was a fight that cemented Lopez as a pound-for-pound star and is a legitimate draw on television. ESPN, I don't know how much they were talking to Bob Arum trying to make sure that they don't lose Teofimo Lopez or this fight, but I'm willing to bet they are not happy with losing out Teofimo Lopez, who was their biggest draw outside of Terrence Crawford on television. So now kind of moving on to the Triller part of all this, is that now Triller is, at least for this next fight, whenever it takes place, there's no official confirmed date or location for this fight. We don't even know if it's gonna share a card with, I know some people were kind of like fantasizing about this being like the co-main event to Jake Paul, Ben Askren. I'm just in, God, I hope that's, well, I mean, it's weird because I don't want, it feel like that would completely overshadow Teofimo Lopez, but it is not a. I mean, this should be a main event all on its own. But obviously, Triller does not have the final word. They have the final word on what's going to happen with that fight. If they want to put it as a co-main event to a Ben Askren and a Paul brother fight, they absolutely can. Christine Dugmore and Live Chats, ESPN and Bob Arum are the losers here. Maybe not so much Bob, because Bob and Top Rank are getting paid almost $800,000 for a fight that they aren't even promoting. So I feel like it's a nice consolation in exchange for not getting to promote this fight. I don't think that they're as mad about losing this fight, because, I mean, if they really wanted to keep it in-house and keep it on ESPN, they would have absolutely done a better job at trying to get more money for Teofimo Lopez, because $1.5 million, or whatever the amount around that ballpark that they were reportedly offering to Teofimo for this fight, that's a low number. Teofimo deserved this kind of payday. You don't get to become a world champion by absolutely decimating Richard Comey in 2019, and then follow it up with an incredible win over Vasily Lomachenko the following year in your next fight. So, God, I just don't. He deserves a lot more money than he was reportedly being offered, and $4 million, I'm pretty sure Teofimo would be more than okay with that. Greg Johnson here. I wonder if Jake Paul versus Ben Askren going to Atlanta is a hint that Tyson Holyfield going there as well, with Holy being from that area. It could be separate shows too, of course. It is possible. It is very possible. There is a lot of different things that you can work with if you're Triller. You can theoretically put Lopez versus Kambosos as its own event. So you can have Ben Askren and a Paul brother on one show, another Mike Tyson exhibition fight on another show, and Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos Jr. as the third show. You can do 3 separate shows. I can almost guarantee it's going to bring a lot of money for Triller. It's going to be interesting how much money they're going to end up having to pay for all these exhibitions, because as great brand awareness this is for Triller, the problem here is that eventually you're going to have to turn in a profit. And you're going to have to bring in, get more money than what you're investing in, because we've seen it with DAZN. They've invested so much money, and it's not like they got all of it in return. They certainly struggled a lot right out the gate for a while getting new subscribers, and it is hard. And I said this for DAZN, and I'm going to say this for Triller. It is very hard to really succeed in this American streaming market if boxing is your major focal point that you're putting your product out there. I'm not seeing, at least just me personally, I'm not seeing any other like major events or that many more events from Triller that isn't boxing related. Now, it could be me being an old, not hip guy who's only 25 years old on social media and not knowing what the hell he's talking about, but it is interesting to see what the long-term strategy for Triller is. Because, I mean, if you keep doing these exhibition fights with retired legends, there's going to be a point of diminishing return. And that's going to come sooner rather than later, I'm willing to bet. So they're going to have to keep experimenting. They're going to have to keep throwing new stuff and keep throwing it to the wall, because, I mean, and Teofimo Lopez is a great example of that. Christine Dugmore says, pretty sure going forward that Lopez would want to fight on Triller if they're going to pay those kinds of purses, though. I can see other boxers doing well. Antonio Tarver signed a Triller contract as well. Tyson Jones grows $150 million on pay-per-view. I don't know the exact financials. I know that it was like around a 7-figure buy rate on pay-per-view. But here's the thing: you're not going to be able to get that kind of money for every single event. Now, right out the gate, they're doing phenomenal. I think outside of the build-up to Roy Jones versus Mike Tyson, this is the most brand awareness that I've seen Triller get, and that's great. What's going to be key is how they capitalize on this new momentum that they just got. There's a lot of stuff that Triller could do, and I think the one benefit that they have over the Zone right out the gate is that they don't pigeonhole themselves into just being a streaming service where boxing is just the main thing. And here's the thing, like with the Zone, obviously they had soccer in other countries or darts or stuff like that, but no one was subscribing to the Zone just for that. Gray Johnson said, do you think more fighters in the future may take risks for mandatories like this and let the free market decide their value? Yes, I actually do think this will be a very, very interesting part. I think this will have a lot of fighters that are going to look at the money that Triller is throwing out there, much in the similar manner to how the Zone was throwing money out there at the very beginning. And fighters will think, okay, I'm gonna play my cards right, and I'm gonna try to test the open water in the open market and see if I can get some of that Teofimo Lopez, George Kambosos money. Because, hell, even top stars today aren't getting the amount of money that George Kambosos Jr. is gonna get for this fight. And I think with the thing about with fighters is that now it's going to be... Now it puts the pressure on promoters and television networks to maybe invest a little bit more money into boxing, at least the ones that already have broadcasting deals, such as, Showtime, Fox, ESPN. I think now, when you're seeing with top stars, I can very well see them trying to do a similar thing where they want more money and they're gonna try and see if maybe a place like Triller could potentially swoop in and give them that kind of money. I don't think it's going to happen as often as some of these fighters will now imagine it's going to be like, but I can see that being a more realistic option when it comes to fighters and their managers and trying to get the most bang for their buck. I think especially it's going to be very important for the younger fighters. I mean, fighters who are already like very established world champions, I don't think that they really care so much. But when you're looking at a guy like Teofimo Lopez or Ryan Garcia, who are young, who really put a lot of effort into developing themselves, especially on social media as stars, not just in boxing, they could very well see that as an alternative. I mean, Ryan Garcia is very popular on social media. Who's to say that he isn't going to look at this purse bet and think to himself, well, maybe the next fight that I do, maybe I can do something similar. And worst case scenario, maybe Triller also to invest in that, because Ryan Garcia draws a lot of eyeballs, not just with boxing, but non-hardcore boxing fans. So worst case scenario, they could also use champions and top stars could also use this example as a way to leverage themselves to get more money. We see this in other sports all the time. Whenever a quarterback in the NFL gets a 6-year, $120 million deal, it's not just money for the quarterback, but it also raises the bar on the minimum amount that these quarterbacks are going to be asking. It's not so much how much money does this person deserves. It's much more than, it's now a question of who is willing to pay them the amount of money that these guys are asking for. And some of these guys, some of these fighters, they're gonna get a nice payday in some of these purse bids. But at the same time, there's also the negative aspect for promoters. It could also, detract promoters from really making that much of an effort in some of these purse bets. I mean, we've seen cases where world title fights goes to purse bids and the winning bet is like something ridiculous, like $75,000, something like that. I think there was a case with, I think it was a light flyweight title bout a couple of years ago, and I think that was something similar where like the purse bid was like not even $100,000, and it was like completely insulting. So maybe that's the case that we see. I don't believe that this will be a very, very competitive fight. And that's not a knock on George Kambosos Jr. I think Teofimo Lopez is just better than everyone else in the lightweight division right now. But I think this will be a nice fight. I think I can honestly see Kambosos putting up maybe a little bit more of an effort than Lomachenko did in the first half of that fight. And I think that the really fascinating part in all of this is how Triller markets this fight. And what will be the location? What will be the date? Is it going to share a card with like YouTube star? Is it going to be on an exhibition card with like a Mike Tyson, as Gray was talking about earlier in the chat? There is a lot that we still don't know, but if you're Triller, you're probably really excited about the possibilities that you have because you have this fight. You now essentially have 3 big events or 3 fights that are going to grab the attention of a lot of people. And again, as I mentioned it, Triller is much more than boxing. Christine Duckmore in the chat saying Triller does live music shows too. There's a lot. Triller right now is more versatile than the Zone right now, at least in the US, because the Zone really only has boxing to fall back on. Triller is not pigeonholed to just only offer boxing. So that's going to be a really big thing for that app and for that streaming service, to be able to be flexible and offer a little bit of everything for just different kinds of people. Yeah, I really do think this will be a major thing for not just Triller, but potentially a seismic shift in boxing. I don't think we're going to see it immediately. I don't think we will, but I could see more and more cases like these happening in the near future. So I think I think we spent enough time that are on this. This is just something that I really wanted to do just right out the get-go, because I wanted to share my thoughts, and this is such a big thing. And for those of you who did not catch the opening part of the stream, Triller wins the George Kambosos Teofimo Lopez purse bid with a winning bid of $6.018 million. Matchroom bid $3.506 million. Top Rank bid only $2.315 million. So the winning bid, 65% of the winning bid, I should say, goes to Lopez, $3.911 million, give or take. 20% of that is going to go to Top Rank, so Top Rank's getting $782,000, and then the remaining $2.106 million is going to go to George Kambosos Jr. minus whatever cut Lou DiBella is going to get. So both of these guys are going to get paid a lot of money. So I'm very excited about that. So I think that all wraps it up for this little impromptu news podcast video, whatever you want to call it. If you like some of the stuff that I do on this channel, be sure to subscribe. I also do tons of interviews from Adrian Broner, Sandro Sayas, not Adrian Broner, Robert Easter Jr. and Sandro Sayas talking about Adrian Broner, Anthony Durrell, Kyron Davis, Elvis Rodriguez, Jason Velez, Richard Comey. Those are just some of the interviews that I did in the last few weeks alone. And the most recent video that I put out there was me rescoring the entire Adrian Broner Giovanni Santiago fight and explaining why I scored each round the way I did. So if you want to know who I thought won that fight, you can check out that video in there. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon for more notifications on when more videos are going to come out there. And that about wraps it up. Thank you so much for all you guys in the live chat. And thank you so much for being a part of this. It's a lot of fun talking about boxing, especially when shit hits the fan in this manner. It's always a lot of fun. So hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your week, and hope you guys enjoyed the weekend of fights that we got coming up on The Zone, on Fox, and every other platform that we can watch. So with that being said, hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.